Hey Sean, and everybody else at Traveller, I thought I'd do it the same way that you did and reply to you via video, so here goes. I did notice that you actually spent some time watching our Traveller game last night, so you'll already know some of the answers to your questions, but here goes. As a GM in Classic Traveller, which is what we play, um, what do I like preparing? Just pretty much hooks. I just try and put things in front of the players. So if they want to take up something, then I design it. When I design stuff, I will put some kind of hook, or they will find a particular device or something like that, and that will become. If they like it, it'll become quite interesting, or they'll just gloss over it, and I'll get the response to what they're thinking at the time when they find the particular bits and pieces. So when I had the very first game, they found a device that was on the side of the ship that wasn't there sort of hours before they checked, ready to get off the starport that they were on. So they managed to actually, they were a bit worried that it'd make the ship explode because the ship had exploded in the starport earlier on. So they encased it to make sure that it couldn't send any signals or couldn't receive any signals to explode. So they got quite interested about it. I made the thing drop off a couple of games later. Just to keep the interest involved in it, and it made the engineer sort of insane with curiosity. Now, my plans for the device, didn't really know. Made it up as we were going along, but I started developing it and developing it because it was something that interested them. Until at this point, they've actually used the device. They found out that it's some kind of high-tech alien device that is designed to record navigation information and maybe alter it in some kind of way. And it was actually a living device, so it dropped off the ship when it died, and they have used the circuitry to repair some damage that they did at one stage. And they don't know what effect that's going to have on the ship, which is something that I'll be able to play with later on. So I've built this sort of idea up through it. Now, the game that you watched was them coming across, well, it wasn't necessarily too much of a surprise for them, but they shot off into deep space that was suggested that there was nothing there, when in fact there was actually a space station there, and they were chasing another ship, which they found there. But just before they came out of jump, their sensors warned that they shouldn't be jumping out, because or should set up their deflectors at the time, when they got out, because there was a huge radiation surge, and that radiation surge dissipated just before they came out of jump, and there they came in and they saw this space station had broken in half, and the starship, or the gunboat that they were actually travelling, was a little bit off the starship, and they all actually thought that, oh no, it's blowing it up. But in fact, it was not the gunboat that had done it. The gunboat seemed to be dead in the water, and you saw the adventure where they boarded the gunboat to find out what went on. Now, what did they find on the gunboat? Well, they found quite a few sort of zombie-like creatures running around that had been affected by some kind of organic material that had animated them past death. They had been eating on some of the crew, not that they actually went that way or found any of this sort of evidence, but they essentially came across some kind of alien life form that had a crab-like shell. So I get off a bit with and this was a planned event. The whole Pandora's box thing was something that I planned. I have the things where I put hooks in front of people, and I actually just see where the players want to go. We wanted to do this where they were travelling merchants sort of stuff. They've now got sort of been involved with the Imperial Navy, and they are travelling the universe, pretty much doing jobs for the Navy, so the Navy will pay their ship fees over time, and then they'll head back to being merchants and wandering around and sort of doing all that sort of stuff, which is kind of exciting. And I let it roam. If they want to do something, then they get to do it. But I have certain long-term plans for this game, certain things that I want to include, that I want to explore. And one of them was the hovering derelict ship full of zombies, and that's because I'm a huge, massive Dead Space fan. and I wanted to see if we could inject that kind of thing into Traveller. I didn't realise it was such a common thing to do until you mentioned that, do you have those zombies running around and doing that sort of stuff? But I got a good reaction out of the crew. I had one of them moaning as they were heading in and they could see things like blood on the floors and stuff like that, and I used Roll20 to almost its best tonight in that reflect, and used a couple of the sounds, etc. So that's what I like. I like throwing hooks out. I like seeing what hooks the players, and I like to investigate with them as they head along those particular hook lines. But I also have long-term plans that I want to meet myself, and I thought of those when I took on the role of the referee, when I decided that yes, okay, I'll run a game of Classic Traveller again. It's a fantastic sort of game. We have a blast every week. Occasionally some of the rules gets us down, but it's just a fantastic thing. So, Shawn and everybody on the Traveller side, there's my answer to exactly what does it mean for us. And for me, that's what I like. Catch you later.